Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is that time again. Welcome into a Tuesday edition. Guest-free, baby. We had a bunch of guests yesterday, so we opened it up. A lot of room for y'all to get in, participate, whether it be on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line, 414-677-1250, or on the socials at WI Sports Radio. As you know, we stream live on Instagram Live, on X, on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe while you are there. Also on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page, you can watch this show streaming live there too. So we broadcast live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sports Book. We're going to talk Brewers. We're going to talk Bucks. We're going to talk Packers. Got all kinds of stuff to get to on today's show. Some World Cup towards the end of the show. But we're going to start off talking about something that I'm guessing will irritate some and others may be fine with. So I'm nervous, for being honest, while doing this topic. A little nervous. Been debating it all day long.
But you were also excited about doing this topic.
Yes,
too.
I know, but I also know it could go off the rails quickly, and then we'll have to abort and bail if things get sideways. But Rob Manfred, the MLB commissioner, is now talking about, being asked about, the possibility of the president of the United States being involved in CBA negotiations with the Players Association. We tried to find audio. We couldn't find any audio. This is from Bob Nightingale, again, our Odyssey MLB insider, as well as with USA Today. Manfred said, quote, "Look, I think it would be wildly inappropriate for me to speculate what the president of the United States might do or not do in a hypothetical situation. We know this. He's a great sports fan, and he is really knowledgeable about the business of sports. So it doesn't surprise me. He's interested. But beyond that, or beyond that, I think is what he meant to say, I'm going to pass," said Manfred. Manfred then noted he would pass on the idea of Trump stepping in, but the president seems to be on the same side as the owners when it comes to a salary cap. Previously commenting on the idea, Trump said, "If you don't have a salary cap, you don't have a sport. They can't help themselves. In sports, they can't help themselves. Football has a salary cap. They should have done it a long time ago. I know so much about sports. They should have done it a long time ago. Major League Baseball, it's shocking, frankly, that they didn't put a cap on many years ago. They had a chance to do a cap, and they blew it." Okay. I'm curious. I really am. Because this here is something where I don't think it matters what side of the political aisle you're on. And this is not going to be Republicans coming on saying their piece, Democrats come on saying their piece. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Green Party, Purple Party. I don't really care what party you are. Because Republican or Democrat or otherwise, we're all Brewers fans, right? We all want to see our team potentially go and win a World Series. Would you be okay with the president interfering in CBA negotiations to leverage, help, whatever you want to say, Major League Baseball get a salary cap? Would you be okay with it if he stepped into the ring to try and get this done for Major League Baseball? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You can also find us on social media, like I said, as well. Now, recently, the president of the United States got himself involved in the World Cup soccer with Flo Balogun, who was people can say it was Pulisic, but Balogun had a way better World Cup than Pulisic. So with their number one player, USA's number one player, getting a red card, and he made a call, and the red card was suspended for a year, so Balogun was able to play. Balogun did not score in the next game. Team USA lost the next game, and that was the end of it. Balogun had thoughts on that whole deal. When they lost that game, he went to the opposing coach, manager, whatever you call him in soccer, to talk to him about that whole thing that happened. And the guy at Belgium was like, I know you didn't do it. Like, had nothing to do with you. Nobody's mad at you over here, but I appreciate you coming over here and kind of setting the record straight or whatever the case may be. So he felt bad for it. But these are two different things in my mind. The first thing is that involved a specific match. So that would be like the president of the United States getting involved in a suspension. So Bucks fans, Scotty Williams gets suspended back in 2001. We all thought he got screwed. That would have been like the president in 2001 stepping in and going, hey, that's over the top. There's no need to suspend him. Don't cause the people what they want to see and let them play at full strength. Would Bucks fans have been in an uproar about Scotty Williams getting able to play? Probably not. Would Sixers fans been in an uproar? I would think so. Would it have changed the outcome of the playoffs? I don't know. Nobody really knows. I think it could have helped the Bucks potentially. But that is the deal on that one. This here, what we're talking about, is him getting involved and affecting an entire league, right? Infecting players' salaries, affecting owners' pockets, affecting everything. Major League Baseball is running an ad that the Players Association is livid about. And they go to supposed quote-unquote fans. Now, I don't know if they're fans or actors or actresses. I don't know who these people are. But they're all wearing different team shirts and all this. And they're acting like they're in parking lots of stadiums. Again, don't know if they're paid or if they literally just found random people. Don't know. Either way, in this TV commercial, they're all saying the same thing. It would be a lot more competitive, if we had a salary cap. There's a Reds fan. I'd feel a lot better about the Reds being good if there was a salary cap. And it's like a 30-second ad. And then at the end of the ad, the screen light goes blue and it says, we're listening across the front of the TV screen. And the Players Association is like, what are we doing? What is the point of this? Now you're trying to make us look like bad guys in public opinion, in public perception. And that has to be the way the owners go about this if they are going to try and get a salary cap. Again, I don't care who gets involved. I don't think they're getting it because I don't think Bruce Meyer, the Players Association, could care less if the president gets involved or not. The answer is still going to be no, we're not signing crap at this point. Would you be okay with the president interfering in CBA negotiations to get a salary cap in baseball, which I believe would make everything a lot more fair in baseball and give the Brewers an even better chance? And they're playing well now. They're on base for 96, 97 wins. They're playing well now. We give them a better chance to potentially win a World Series with the salary cap. Even though you may not get to the end result the way you want to get to the end result, but if you get to the end result, are Brewers fans really going to be mad if there's now a salary cap for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years after that, regardless of how we get to that point? That's why I think it's an interesting topic. It's not Democrat, Republican, or whatever party you are. That doesn't matter. We're all Brewers fans, regardless of public affiliation. Or regardless of political affiliation. So regardless if you like them or don't like them, I think at the end of the day, it's still about your team and your team's chances to go to a World Series. Most of us have not seen that. Some of us saw 82. A lot of us haven't. A lot of us don't know if we'll ever see the Brewers win a World Series. We didn't think we'd see it with the Bucks, and we did. This here would give you a better situation to potentially see your favorite team win a World Series or at least get to a World Series before you're dead. Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. If we're being honest, I'm slow playing looking at the Talk and Text Line because I'm afraid of what I'm going to see there. But before I do that, Charlie, your thoughts?
No, I don't think I'd be okay with him interfering with this. I think, to his credit, in the part that he was talking about Trump, where he says that this should have happened a long time ago. Yeah, it probably should have. A lot of these leagues made their beds and now are lying in them and are frustrated with all this.
But tried.
They tried doing this.
They lost the World Series and everything
NCAA opened up NIL without any kind of structure around it. And now they're getting screwed by all these players suing them. I'm so frustrated with a lot of these sports leagues letting a lot of outside things interfere with what's happening with their own rules and their own legislations within that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Sports, frankly, are not that serious. I love sports. They've changed my life. They've helped keep me up when I was really down. At the same time, I know it's not that serious. And I know there are bigger things that people that are running this world need to be focused on, rather than whether or not these guys are getting paid too much when the owners let this happen.
Randy in Greendale uses the Nicolay Law Talk and text line and asking the question, would you be okay with the president interfering in CBA negotiations? That was brought up to Rob Manfred. And Rob Manfred kind of danced around it and said he's not going to say what the president's going to do one way or the other, and kind of didn't really give a full answer. 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Randy in Greendale says, to get a salary cap, I don't care if it's the president, the Pope, the Archbishop, chairman of the board, I would support it 100%, says Randy in Greendale. Randy even said if the Pope gets involved, he's in, right? Pope's a White Sox fan. He's a baseball fan. If the Pope interferes, what if the Pope and the president all are in the CBA negotiations? Both of them are in the same room with the Players Association.
The Pope is a real baseball fan.
Yes.
He's a White Sox fan. I think they might listen to him even more.
Yes. As a White Sox fan, you want the CBA because you don't spend money like the clubs. You absolutely want it. From the 414, Trump is a deal maker. I don't see an issue with it. If both sides are so far apart, someone needs to help. That's Patrick in Tosa. This is the thing. If this had been anybody other than this dude, this wouldn't even be coming up. But because he got involved in the World Cup, now every time there is something disputable in professional sports, I promise you, if something happens in the NFL and there's some type of dispute, people are going to go, is the president going to give up? If something happens in the NBA, president going to give up? Because he put his nose in it with soccer, now it's going to be looking like, have him come in and fix this situation. Have him come in and fix that situation. That's going to be a real thing. Now, will he continue to do it? I don't know, but it's not crazy to think he might. And again, as a Brewers fan, I really want a salary cap.
I think the other problem with all this, though, is that a lot of these commissioners that are running these leagues, when they're asked these questions, again, I think they should very easily just say, no, this is our issue. We'll figure it out. We'll get this done. We need to stop, again, letting other people interfere with our processes that we set up. This says these aren't legal things. These are our things that we set up. Like, let's stop making it that. But instead, all these commissioners come out and say, well, yeah, maybe like if he wants to, like, they're just letting people they're letting this happen.
Correct.
That's crazy. Stop letting this happen and get control of your own home.
Like
That's
you said,
nuts.
It's everywhere. It's not just baseball. It's college athletics, really in college athletics. Like everybody is interfering in everybody else's business and having a say in what happens.
Everybody just lets it happen instead of just saying no. Like you can say no in these situations. Nothing will happen if you say no. You just let it. Everybody's so scared to say no. Let's
go to Anthony in Muskego. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Anthony?
What's going on, Spark? Yeah, I think Randy in Greendale's spot on. I don't care who's involved because I don't care about their process. Well, their process is broken. Their process led us to the situation we're in right now. So whatever it takes, I hope there's not an extended lockout. But you know what? If that's what it takes, then I'm all for it. Because, I mean, the fact is it's not a fair playing field. You look at it, the big markets decided advantage. Do they bring in the most money? Sure. But you need the other clubs to actually have a league. So I think things like, and there's been some dispute. There's a whole nother topic with the NBA, with what they've done with the aprons.
Yep.
To effectively create a cap.
Right. Yep.
Well, you know what? There's some debate on all that. I think the biggest issue with that to me is the max contract, not the aprons in itself. But with that said, it's new teams every year in the finals, seemingly new teams. I know people love dynasties, and that's all good and all, but parity is a lot more fun. It's a lot more interesting. And in my opinion, I think it keeps fan bases engaged all around the country instead of just in the big markets, because it's not just about New York and LA and Chicago.
All right. Very good. Anthony, thanks for the call. The second apron has essentially in the NBA created a salary cap. We know all about it. The Bucks were right there with Giannis and all of their contracts, right? So You know how it affected the Bucks. That you got pinned. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that. All this stuff that now all of these owners and GMs are like, yep, we are not going there because we are screwed if we get to that point. So it has worked. Guess what? Y'all agreed to the deal. Players, y'all agreed to it. Now, can the owners in the MLB be sliding up to figure out their own way of creating a cap without creating a cap?
Should
really?
be able to.
That's what it is at the end of the day. From the 414 and the Nikolai Law Talking text line, I would have no problem with the president getting involved, but there's a high possibility that a cap could hurt the Brewers as well. 414, I imply you to call into this radio show and explain to me how a cap would hurt the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm really curious to see how that would hurt the Brewers. Let's go over to the dugout on the YouTube channel. Your chance to comment with one another. Comment with us there too at WI Sports Radio. Like and subscribe on YouTube when you're there.
This is actually from the Facebook page. This is John over there. He says the president needs to stay out of it.
That's what, two? You and him are the two? The Talking text line, everybody is all about getting him involved at this point. Let's see here. From the 414, fellas, it's simple. Forget about the salary cap for a second. I don't care what it does for my team. On principle alone, are the players making too much money for what they do? There is no gray. Do whatever it takes to cap off what these overpaid athletes are making. Or do you want more Gary Trent contracts? Eesh. Unfair low blow on the Gary Trent thing. It's too soon. We don't need to be throwing blows on Gary Trent. As a Bucks fan, I don't want to hear about Gary Trent. But, okay, this is a bigger conversation. Listen, they're making the money they're making because we're watching, because we're buying their product.
Because the owners have that money. Like, that's...
Sure they do, but they have that money because people are watching. You aren't having Netflix running a home run derby unless there's some proof that people are going to tune into Netflix. Now, when you watch Netflix versus if you watch, an NBC affiliate in your town, that NBC affiliate for ratings, that's a guess. A guesstimate maybe is the best way to do it. As far as how many people are actually watching in that market. Netflix, those are all real numbers. Streaming numbers are all real, right? So YouTube TV and NFL Sunday Ticket, those are all real numbers of who's watching what. You can look at each and every one of them. If you're streaming Wisconsin Sports Radio at wisportsradio.com, if you're streaming us there, I have all real numbers that I can look at to see how many people are listening throughout each hour of the day, each minute of the day. I can go in and look at. Same thing on YouTube. How many people are watching on YouTube or on Instagram Live or X, whatever. Those are all hard numbers that we can screw the nails down to. Versus over-the-air TV, where those are more guesstimates with TV numbers. And radio works the same way. They're guesstimates as far as how many people are listening. They take a small sample size of people, and then essentially each person is dictated to be however many thousands of people or whatever in that market, and that's kind of how it all works. Now, that isn't a perfect science. They're working on trying to figure out how to make it more accurate and so forth. But if I'm Netflix, and I know for certain, this isn't on a guesstimate, I know I get X amount of people watching me on Netflix or Peacock or whatever when I have an NBA game on, hard, fast numbers. Now I can take that to an advertiser and sell those numbers of what I have. Now I can charge based on how many people are watching everything else. Now I can formulate in my brain, how much do I want to pay the NBA to run their games and so forth while still making money and not losing money. So the reason these athletes get what they make is because of the TV deals, because of the streaming deals. That's how they're afforded that. If nobody is watching, right? Say WNBA, they're not getting the same deal as the NFL. Those ladies aren't making the same amount of money. It's not happening. Want to know why? Because you don't have as many people watching, and they can't get the big enough TV deals. There's enough watching to where you've seen their salaries grow for certain.
And people, it's growing.
It's going in the right direction.
There's a lot of great games so far this season that are
there's
helping the league grow. It's
right,
still
but there's
low.
the king of the NFL, and then there's a drop-off, and then the MLB and NBA, and then hockey, and then everybody else kind of behind it. MLS is taking steps in the right direction too. So you're never going to see, I don't think, player salaries ever stop going up year to year. Just look at the salary cap in the NFL. Every year, what does it do? It goes up. Why? Because of the money that's coming in. That's why that's why it goes up. That's why these player contracts get to be crazier and crazier by the day. All right, we'll come back, take more of your comments and thoughts on the MLB potential salary cap. And I was brought up to Rob Manfred about, hey, what are your thoughts on the president potentially getting involved in the CBA negotiations? And I'm asking you, would you be okay with it? Quite a few people are so far if it means getting the Brewers a salary cap. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Many is really wanting to impress their new big boss, Wendy's, so they cooked up some fun chaos for the fans. Say hello to the Minions and Monsters meal, featuring one of 4 unique collectibles. New Banana Frosty Swirl, your choice of a Big Bacon Classic or Spicy Chicken Sandwich, plus a small fry. It's time to go bananas over this exclusive Wendy's experience, limited time only. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Charlie, using the other side of the glass. Hope you are well here on a Tuesday. Talking about comments made by Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, when talking to Bob Nightingale about the potential of Donald Trump attempting to intervene maybe in a new CBA contract. Manfred said, look, I think it would be wildly inappropriate for me to speculate what the president of the United States might do or not do in a hypothetical situation. We know this. He's a great sports fan, really knowledgeable about the business of sports, so it doesn't surprise me. He's interested, but beyond that, I'm going to pass, said Manfred. Now, again, he could have shut it down. Just been like, yeah, we're good. Like, there's no need for him to interfere. We got this. We've done other CBAs without a president being involved, and we'll do this one without a president being involved. And that would have been the end of it. There would have been nothing more to discuss, but he left it open, Charlie, which leads me to believe this is a possibility that it could occur come December or January.
I mean, I keep saying, anything seems like a possibility because everybody just keeps letting it happen. I don't know. Like, again, this is all, when I hear everybody talking about the salary cap, it's always because they want to stop the players from getting more money in this situation. But the players aren't the only ones getting more money every single year. The owners already have way more money than these players. The owners are already making a lot more money than these players year in and year out. Neither side is completely in the right here. Neither side is on this and deserves something more than the other side. They need to be able to come together and actually have a conversation about these things instead of just sending letters across the country back and forth that are saying things that are completely opposite. It doesn't feel like a real conversation has even tried to be had yet. It doesn't feel like either of these sides have really any kind of respect for each other at all. And you can't have a conversation without any kind of respect, without any kind of initial greeting with one another. And that's extremely frustrating. To say that we just need to jump to somebody to intervene in this situation is absurd to me. And that we're already asking questions about it. And the fact that Manfred is leaving it open is even more absurd to me.
That means he is not going to say no. That's what it tells me. He's not going to say no. And the owners aren't going to say no either. Why? Because the assumption is based on past comments by the president that he wants a salary cap too and thinks it's crazy that they don't have one. So he's going to come in on their side. Now, how Bruce Meyer and the players handle this, I have no unearthly idea because we've not seen this before. Asking you, would you be okay with the president interfering in CBA negotiations for Major League Baseball to get a salary cap? And as a Brewers fan, I think most of you would want one. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. From the 224, a salary cap is a lazy solution that benefits the billionaire owners at the expense of the players. Look at how much money the Brewers get in revenue sharing each year. Force these smaller markets to spend more of that money on payroll. That's Ken in River West. I agree. I'm with you, Ken. I'd love to see it, right? So the Dodgers and the money they get is like 300. Everybody gets like $340 million, $330 million, 336, something like that. The Dodgers, I believe, spend 90% of it on payroll. The Brewers aren't even close to that. They're less than 50%. They're around like 40% of what they spent. Now, this was from a report for 2025. So if you said, okay, no salary cap, but we're going to force our owners to spend 60% of that revenue sharing money that you get. 60% of that has to be spent. Well, that's a significant amount of money now that will be spent going forward. And who's going to benefit? The players. That's who will benefit at the end of the day. So that is an angle that the players can say to the owners of, look, we want this. The problem is, I don't know what the players would have to give up for the owners to agree to that side of the deal. Because the owners, like the Pirates owner and these guys, they don't want to spend that much money, right? They want to pad their wallets and so forth. That's why they only spend 35% or 36% of it. They don't want to spend a ton of money. So if the owners were to agree to that, the players would have to agree to something pretty dramatic on their end that they don't want to give up. And right now, as we're sitting here talking, I don't know what that would be.
I don't know what it is either, but the players know what that is. And if the players see the owners are going to make that concession, especially the owners who have most of the control right now, again, they're the ones who tender these contracts to these players. They're the ones that have gotten the players to this point that they're making this much money, which means that they are in control of the situation. But if they concede one thing or a couple of things themselves, then the players might be more likely to concede that one thing that they know about that they may not want to themselves too. Again, you have to start trying to respect each other and have some kind of conversations back and forth instead of just going constantly giving your proposal, the other side saying, no, that's stupid. And then it's over with. And then 2 weeks later, we get another proposal from one of the sides where the other side just goes, no, that's stupid. Talk to each other. Be adults.
Yes. Talk to each other. Be adults. 1,000% agree with you on that. And that's, again, that's something where it gets very wishy-washy when you start talking about when you want interference versus when you don't want interference. If it befits me, I'm cool with it. If it screws me, I'm not cool with it. That's why I'm asking the question, because from a Brewers fan perspective, yeah, if it gets us a salary cap, I'm all in. Charlie can interfere. The Pope can interfere like somebody else brought up. I don't care who interferes. Just get this damn salary cap done so Brewers fans can feel better about themselves. Back over to the Dugout YouTube chat over there. A bunch of people now chiming in there too. What do you got?
All right. Boomhawk says, I'm down for whatever it takes to lower the price of Jack Daniels inside the stadium. I don't know if you're ever getting that back down, Boomhawk. I'm sorry, man.
I'm all for it, though. I agree. I like me some Jack.
Anton says, government should stay out of sports. Let the leagues figure it out.
Yes, I think a lot of people agree with you on that. But he set the precedent with the World Cup. So now you have to talk about what's next, especially when he's already talked about what side of this issue he stands on, the current president, that is. From the 414, the Los Angeles Dodgers generated $850 million in revenue for the 2025 season and had a total payroll of $514.7 million, which includes both salaries and luxury tax. I'm not a mathematician, but that's not 90. No, but you're not listening. They have revenue sharing. Everybody across Major League Baseball gets the same number, essentially, or roughly the same number at the end of the day. And if we can find it, we can post it maybe on YouTube or on X. There was a report out from 2025. We talked about it earlier on in the season about the amount of money each team spent from that number that Major League Baseball gave every team. So of the $330-some million, like 90% of that they spent to go towards their payroll and so forth. But again, this is the Major League Baseball check that is coming through at the end of the day. That's what this is all about. This is not how much money they made on jersey sales, how much money they made on this. Because remember, you have revenue sharing in baseball. So the larger markets are sharing that money with the smaller markets. The TV deal for the LA Dodgers is much, much higher than what the TV deal is for the Milwaukee Brewers, who just took a big cut by going with MLB TV this year, right? Just like in all other sports, the Bucks TV deal that they just cut, which I'm very excited about with the CW and doing this, is not going to be anywhere near to what the Lakers TV deal is out in LA, or probably even the Knicks deal or the Celtics deal or the 76ers deal. There is huge, wide disparity in revenue when you start talking about smaller to bigger markets. All right, Charlie found it. It's up right now if you want to look at it on YouTube, X, Instagram Live, or on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page. He has the graphic up right now. Go ahead, Charlie.
So it was the Mets that spent 90% of their revenue on their payroll.
How much are the Dodgers?
The Dodgers spent 73%, so they were still almost 3/4 of their revenue on their payroll.
What did the Brewers spend?
The Brewers spent 40%. They only spent $137 million of their $335 million.
And what's the Dodgers number that they got?
The Dodgers got $752 million. And again, I think this is just what they earned, not part of that revenue sharing.
Because this is something, again, where we start talking about how much money they're spending. That is a big deal.
And if you look at teams that
like
earned less than the Brewers in that year, the Twins earned $324 million, but they still spent 47% of theirs on their payroll. The Colorado Rockies earned $318 million, spent 44% of that on their payroll. The Athletics earned $257 million, spent 43% of that on their payroll. Cincinnati and Washington both earned $325 million and spent about 42% of that each on their payrolls.
So this is, again, goes back to the owners of the teams and so forth, and how much they really want to spend from that pool that they get. And the revenue sharing system and how it works. 48% local pool. Every team contributes 48% of its net local revenue. So tickets, local TV deals, and concessions into a single pot. That massive fund is divided exactly 30 ways, netting each team roughly 110 plus million. The national revenue pot, which is central funds from national broadcast rights, so like ESPN, Fox, and so forth, and merchandise, are split equally, giving each team roughly $90 million at the end of the year. So high revenue payers, the Dodgers, paid over $120 million into the pool, with their total shared burden approaching $500 million when accounting for luxury tax. Small market teams like the Marlins or the Athletics draw a net positive of roughly 70 to 72 million out of the shared system. It's a huge gap. It's a gigantic gap at the end of the day that everybody is trying to figure out how to make it all work.
Well, and from the sounds of it, the Dodgers are also paying their fair share for spending that much money on their payroll. They're going out there and making amends for it by helping give other teams part of their revenue too. Like there's already things set in place that, again, these owners should be able to start looking forward at and say, you know what, we can make concessions if it gets us those apron rules like the NBA. We can start making concessions if it's going to get us this salary cap, because then the players will be more likely to, again, help you guys out. You need to start having these conversations and looking at some of the more fine print things where, yes, some of these teams that are spending a lot of money are getting punished already to some degree and are paying for it, and they're willing to pay for it because it's working out. And that some of these other teams like Miami and Oakland, who have built these great farm systems that they've brought up and now are starting to succeed, now that when they start to succeed, hopefully they can start generating some money and help out that way too. Like, again, just have some trust in each other and respect each other, and we can start to figure this out.
If you look at these numbers, again, we've talked about these before, but Milwaukee 335 spent 137, Twins 324 spent 154, Royals 324 spent 167. The Diamondbacks 328 spent 219 million. Again, this is the 2024 revenue, and then how that contributed to the 25 payroll at the end of the day. That is crazy, absolutely crazy. At the end of the day, from the 262, it didn't matter what Trump did. Nothing would stop people from talking about. Now we're going down a whole nother thing.
I'm going to stop.
We're not going to read that. I told you we're not getting into politics. So this is the thing, though. At the end of the day, if it gets you a salary cap, how much does it change everything? I think it changes everything quite a bit. Or you build this first and second apron like the NBA did to stop it. I just don't think you're going to have baseball in April next year. I don't. And I'm not quite sure you'll have baseball in May. It may be June, July before you actually get Major League Baseball done, regardless of who is in the room negotiating at the end of the day. Home Run Derby was last night. Lots of positive reviews, some negative. We'll get into whether or not you like the new format coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen. Hope you are well. Gonna switch gears here and get into what happened last night with the home run derby. Last night, the rules were changed. No more time limits. Instead, it was based on swings. Everybody got the same amount of swings to get it done, but no time limit at the end of the day. And Jordan Walker, who, if you looked at some of these odds and so forth, he was like, sixth or so in odds to potentially win the home run derby. Nobody really thought the St. Louis Cardinals outfielder was going to be that much of a threat. Everybody really was hoping for Schwarber or Bryce Harper to do it in Philadelphia. And in Philadelphia last night, they were booing everybody that didn't have a Philly jersey on, including when the batting practice pitcher threw one a little bit inside on Wilson Contreras. They cheered. It's a little weird, but whatever. I get it. It's Wilson Contreras. I understand that. But they definitely did not want Jordan Walker or anybody else to win it. They really, I think, wanted Schwarber at the end of the day to win it because Harper was gone early on. And Schwarber was sitting in a relatively comfortable seat there in that finale against Jordan Walker until Jordan Walker essentially strung him out the last six or so to win the thing. Jordan Walker wins it. The Philly faithful, I don't think were all that pleased necessarily that Jordan Walker strung those together and won it at the end of the day. The one thing that you noticed if you were watching that home run derby potentially was there weren't nearly as many home runs hit in this version of the home run derby as we have seen in the past from home run derbies. And in fact, there was a number put on it as well as far as the difference in this year's home run derby versus past year's home run derbies. I think you're going to be relatively shocked. Buster Olney says over the last 5 years, the home run derby average with the clock was 275 homers in the derby. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, same amount of time. Show was the same length.
Right.
131.
Well, I mean, you have a set.
Not even half.
You have a set number of swings.
Correct.
I think that means
that's
so
exactly
overall
correct.
The peak is going to be set at a lower number because when you have the clock and some of these guys are swinging as fast as possible, they're just driving out 20
Correct.
of them in one round. Like that helps a lot more. Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
So the home run derby took out the home runs. Mm-hmm. That's essentially what happened. And that was the one complaint that I saw last night on X was, dude, there's not nearly as many balls going out of the ballpark. Like, they're way less because, like you were talking about, and I said at the start of the segment, which was you're capped as far as how many swings that you essentially can take at the end of the day for each player, which led to the drama at the end for Walker to string them together to win this thing, which I think helped. And I think at the end of the day, I think a lot of people liked it. Now, my number one complaint was on Netflix. So a lot of people didn't watch it at the end of the day because they don't have Netflix, just like a lot of people don't watch stuff on Peacock or on Amazon Prime or any of these other streaming services because they don't want to spend the money to tune in and watch it.
I had a long day of work yesterday. I had to work at the brewery. I got to the brewery and I was like, oh, I can watch the home run derby here. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be great. There's music bingo going. And then I immediately remembered, oh, it's on Netflix. I'm going to have to wait till I get home or tomorrow morning to watch it, record it afterwards just to see. Like, that's just so frustrating. Like, that's a bigger problem than some other things. The fact that you have so many streaming services all around there taking all these little bits and pieces from your favorite sports, That's really frustrating.
Agreed. Here's one from online from Tipping Pitches account on X. This has been one of the worst home run derby broadcasts I've ever watched. They're straight up not even showing many of the swings, no exit velocity, taking the wrong camera constantly. Putrid stuff from Netflix was one of the complaints last night in that deal.
There's also a small conspiracy theory that in this final round, they were supposed to be using the magenta and white balls, the T-Mobile balls or whatever they were supposed to be. And the one that Jordan Walker hit to tie Kyle Schwarber apparently was just a regular ball, just a regular all white ball. And for some reason, according to experts or whatever, Twitter experts, they said the white balls are way easier to see than the magenta and white ball. So that Jordan Walker got a slight advantage at the end because he got a white ball instead of a magenta and white ball.
Did Schwarber get the same amount of white ones as?
No, it was Jordan? It was supposed to be on accident. It was supposedly that he got that white ball. So they were supposed to only have the magenta and white balls for that final round.
So the one thing that ESPN wrote up yesterday on their preview, and I was going through and reading it, and we never got to home run derby talk yesterday because, quite frankly, it wasn't top of mind. I didn't really care to talk about it yesterday. Was the guy that Jordan Walker was using has pitched in a bunch of home run derbies and has won home run derbies with the players he's pitched
That's
to.
why Bryce Harper picked Dino Abel.
Yes.
It's the same reason.
Correct. So the dude for the Cardinals, it was like, yeah, I haven't thrown to him, but I know where he wants it. We're good. I was made to do this, I believe was the quote that the guy said. I was made to do this. So when you start hearing Jordan Walker's on the climb in the home run derby, I was like, well, of course he is. I mean, you got the guy that you want throwing to him at the end of the day. So
that's like being a Hall of Fame long snapper. That's awesome.
But again, like how much do they get paid for that? Like, does Jordan Walker like tip out?
I bet he gives him.
He tips out,
check.
right?
He got $1 million. That was more than his annual salary.
Yes. You got to tip out at the end of the day. Coming up next, we'll talk more about the crew. A report out by Robert Murray concerning the Brewers and extension talks with Jacob Mizorowski. We'll do that coming up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you on a Tuesday.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Hour number 2, just like that. Here we are. Coming up this hour, we'll get into rumors floating around about a Bucks Nuggets deal involving Peyton Watson. That'll come up in the second segment. Charlie Sounds of the Day comes up at 3:40 as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And before we get to all of that, back to the crew we go.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, so there is a report out by Robert Murray that from fansided.com that the Brewers and Josh Mizorowski have not had extension talks as of right now. I simply want to know from your perspective as a Brewers fan that knows how important at the end of the day Mr. Mizorowski is and how great Mr. Mizorowski is. You could see it yesterday. Like when he was up at the podium, it looked like he pitched for the Yankees or the Phillies. There were so many guys.
Everybody was around him.
Everybody.
He's just like, everybody wants to talk to him. He's on MLB Network. He's on their social media accounts. Right. He's on ESPN. Like everybody wants to talk to this dude.
And that really shows you how much he's grown. Last year, it was, the circus is in town. Let's go talk to the clown, Jacob Mizorowski, because there were a lot of people who didn't think he should have been there. And we're kind of side-eyeing him. Trey Turner said what he said with the Phillies and all of that. So there was a lot of that. This year, he shows up, and now it's like, that's a bad dude right there, man. That dude's a bad dude. Now, again, he's not pitching in the All-Star game tonight. You're not going to see him. You'll see William Contreras, but you're not going to see him. So you know how big of a star he is. So out comes this story from Robert Murray talking about Jacob Mizorowski and not having extension talks to this point. In here, they talk about the fatigue situation. And according to the people that Robert Murray talk about, everybody seems to think not a big deal. He's fine. He'll probably not pitch in the first series, but he'll be good to go after that, which is pretty much all stuff that we knew really at the end of the day.
Murphy said that's what Jacob Mizorowski said himself. Yeah.
But the thing is that you would think that you would come to him and try to get an extension because as Robert Murray points out, every time he takes them on, the price tag seemingly is just getting higher and higher and higher for what he signs. We talked about this before, which is Jesus Madej. They don't have a deal done with him. And there's some rumblings out there that maybe he wants a number higher than what Connor Griffin got for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And maybe the Brewers don't want to pay it. Don't know that for sure, but those are some of the rumblings. Now, here's Mizorowski. I want to know what you all think of why they're not talking. They got Cooper Pratt done. They got Lara done. Nothing on Mizorowski to this point. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. On the socials, you can watch Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Growth Love video stream on Instagram Live, X, and YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Again, that's at WI Sports Radio, Instagram Live, X, YouTube, and the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page. Growth gets it. Now, this is what I think. They have no interest in paying this dude. Zero.
None.
Zilch. Not going to do it. Now, you say to yourself, Sparky, come on, man. What are you talking about? This dude is dominant. Might be the best pitcher in Brewers history and the entire organization. He's like our Giannis, right? Like Giannis was called the Greek freak. I think you could call Mizorowski a freak at this point for how hard he throws the ball. 105.5. He threw the ball, right? This is why I don't think there's any chance they're even going to go down this road. The first reason, and most importantly, is there's no way they can afford to pay him money. No. Pitchers make more money by a lot than, say, the catcher, William Contreras. He's going to get $20, $25 million a year. You're going to make way, way more money than getting Churio early at like $10 million a year, or getting Lara or Pratt at pennies on the dollar. You're not going to get that with a stud pitcher. Nonetheless, one that appears far different than everybody else in Major League Baseball at this point.
For reference, looking at other contracts by just average per year value, guys like Carlos Rodon for the Yankees, who you haven't really heard of in a long time because he hasn't pitched well in a long time, got a 6-year deal there. He is making $27 million alone this year. Nathan Eovaldi is making $25 million on a long-term contract with the Texas Rangers. Sean Manaea signed with the Mets a few years ago for $25 million. So these are all players that aren't even close to the caliber of Jacob Misiorowski at this point in his career. If you go up to players that could be in that caliber. So Chris Sale's making $27 million this year. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is making $27 million. Max Fried's making $27 million. Guys that are more at the top of the league, like if we're talking about some of these Cy Young caliber guys, Tarek Skubal's making $32 million on that arbitration case that he won this year. Corbin Burns, $35 million. Blake Snell, $36 million. Jacob deGrom, $37 million. Framber Valdez, $38 million. And at the top of the league, Zach Wheeler making $42 million a year.
Woo! $42 million.
So you want to pay him $42 million? Because that's what it's going to cost you.
Misiorowski, this is 26, right? So you have him under team control for 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and he becomes a free agent in 32. That's a long time. He's not even arbitration eligible until 29. So you're paying him nothing for the next several years, okay? Now, the other part of the deal with Misiorowski not having extension talks, I believe, is injury. Because he throws it so hard. You've seen guys, Scherzer, DeGrom, and these guys get hurt and continuously are getting hurt and can't keep themselves healthy. Now, are there exceptions to the rule? Right now, there appears to be. Aroldis Chapman is definitely an exception to the rule to be pitching that long, throwing that hard. And I brought that up before, like, I want him and Chapman to sit down and have dinner and talk about arm care and what Chapman does to keep himself healthy. And I saw they took a selfie. It was Mason Miller, and Chapman. The three of them took a selfie. 3 hardest throwing guys in baseball. Well, that and Hunter Green, now that he's back with the Reds.
Out of the 240 fastest pitches in the MLB this year, 239 of them are Jacob Misiorowski.
Correct.
The other one is Shohei Ohtani.
Ooh, I did not know Ohtani was the other one. So anyways, the aspect of can he stay healthy that long, I think if you're a small market team like the Brewers, you're like, nah, I'm not going to gamble. I got this cat for like 6 years before I got to worry about anything concerning him in free agency. If I go give him an extension and next thing you know, he blows out his elbow or his shoulder or whatever, and all of a sudden he ain't the same guy anymore. Now I just signed up for $30 million a year or something crazy for the next 10 years, and he's not the same guy anymore. I just don't think from a business standpoint, and I know we talked about the salary cap and all of that in the first hour of this show. I don't think from a business standpoint, it's good business for this Brewers franchise to even think about doing this with him or any pitcher. Let me emphasize that. I wouldn't extend any pitcher when you are talking about $25, $30, $35 million a year. I wouldn't do it. And you can use Brewers history to show you why I'm right. Josh Hader, whoops, once he left. Corbin Burns, whoops, once he left. You can see these dudes blowing out elbows and shoulders and arms as soon as the Brewers get rid of them. You've seen it. Chris Capuano, for God's sakes, had 2 or 3 Tommy John surgeries when he was here in his career. So you've got all of these guys. I'm not into it. I'm all about paying position players and buying them for 10 years. That I'm all in on. Let's roll. Pitching, no chance. I don't care who you are. I'm not doing long-term deals with pitchers. I have absolutely no interest in it whatsoever. In a small market, you cannot afford to miss on a gigantic deal. See Yelich, see Braun, right? Those deals were great for a time. And then once they both hit, one hit steroids and the other one hit injuries, all of a sudden, those contracts didn't look so good anymore.
If those guys had won one World Series or been the main factor in one World Series during their time of that contract and then got hurt, do you feel a lot better about those contracts? Because if Jacob Mizorowski, let's say, gets a big contract, goes out there, wins a Cy Young, a Triple Crown potentially, and then wins a World Series for the Milwaukee Brewers, I mean, you don't care as much about that long-term contract, then you're actually kind of happy because now you have the greatest player, the greatest pitcher in your franchise history locked into your franchise for as long as possible. Like, I think if you feel like he has that ceiling to be that greatest of all time, you also want to find a way to keep that around for as long as possible if you are a smaller market franchise. The Milwaukee Bucks figured out how to do that for as long as they possibly could, and then it broke down to the point where their relationship was fractured with Giannis Antetokounmpo, but they were able to take that player that ended up being that superstar, being one of the greatest players of all time, and found a way to try to keep him around because they knew the city loved him and that he mattered a lot to the city beyond just basketball. And if you feel like Jacob Mizorowski can get to that point, or if he does get to that point and it's time to give him that contract, I think you have to go and do that because it would be good for more than just the team. It'd be good for the city.
Anytime you win a championship, it's going to be great for the city. And as I've stated before, you know, the Packers win the Super Bowls in the 60s. And those guys are doing autograph signings 60 years later. For those that are still alive, they're still doing stuff, right? The Packers that won that Super Bowl with Brett Favre and Leroy Butler and Reggie White and those guys are still active in the area. Gilbert Brown's always in the area. Antonio Freeman comes back and does stuff. Now his kid's on Team USA Soccer. But those guys are still active. And Robert Brooks wanted to come rolling back to do something. People would line up to get Robert Brooks' autograph. Santana, Dotson, and those guys, they'll always be heroes, whatever, here. That Bucks championship team with Giannis is going to have that same type of deal. When Drew Holiday comes back to do an autograph signing in 15 or 20 years, people can be lined up around the block. No question. Chris Middleton comes back. People are going to be lined up around the block. All those guys will be heroes here forever. It will be no different. If the Brewers ever win a World Series, to what you're going to be talking about from a hero perspective of those guys being able to literally print money in the state of Wisconsin for the rest of their lives if they win a World Series here.
And if they're going to be a hero and he wants to be a part of the Milwaukee Brewers, I feel like you got to let him and you got to try to keep that around and take advantage of him wanting to do that and him actually doing that. Now, he hasn't gotten to that point yet. And I know that's why a lot of people are still skeptical, but he's starting to lead towards that. And this team is starting to figure out, and they're starting to see a lot of these trees plant with the fruit coming. These young players are coming and they're going to be studs, man. And you're starting to see it come to fruition at the major league level. Like Jacob Mizorowski could be that guy to lead them all the way to a title.
That's exactly right. I looked up while you were talking. I wanted to know who his agent is. Because, you know, if it's Scott Boras, yikes. Like, he could be the first $100 million guy if he stays healthy this whole time. It's not. His agent, according to Google, is Eric Johnson of the Warner Companies. Eric Johnson, a former big league baseball player with the San Francisco Giants. Plus, he played with the Rangers, Pirates, Marlins organizations as far as down in the minors or whatever. So he played professional baseball for 10 years, has been with Team USA working with them, has been an agent, I want to say, for 10 years. Johnson is also a member of the task force for the 2024 LU NTIS Champions Cup, when he and other members will identify 12 of the top athletes will be invited to like the 12U national team training camp. This was back in like 24. He was doing all this. So he has been hands-on for quite some time. And him negotiating this, even though I don't know much about him other than what I'm reading right now, I feel a little bit better. But if I'm Jacob Mizorowski, he ain't my guy when I get to free agency, Charlie.
If he's not getting me at least $43 million to get above Zach Wheeler, and it's going to be higher than that.
Way higher, by 32.
Terry Scooble's going to get $45 million this offseason, probably from whatever team. Like,
depending on what happens.
Right, depending on what happens. Like, he's going to get made the highest paid pitcher in all of MLB history. He's a back-to-back Cy Young winner. Jacob Mizorowski, as is going to go and win a Cy Young, so that's going to boost his number even more. Like, he's going to be worth a lot of money once we hit 2029. He's starting to ask for just arbitration. You're already going to have to give him a ton of money, so you might as well just pay him at that point. Like, you're going to get to a spot where he's going to be really expensive, but if he's worth it, if he gets you that championship, if he's that greatest pitcher of all time, it might be worth it.
414 says, I'm not positive, but wouldn't it be worth it for the Brewers to get contracts with any of these guys for possibly cheaper now before this low salary cap kicks in? Terang, Contreras, Madej, Miz. First of all, if there's going to be a salary cap, I don't see how it's anything lower than, say, like 250, somewhere in that area. And then if there's going to be a floor, the floor that the owners brought in was 169, I think, 170, somewhere in that area.
174, I think, was the latest one.
That's $30+ million more than what the $40 million more than what the Brewers are spending right now. I think the Brewers are like 129. That is a gigantic leap. So if there's a floor instituted, now Mark has to spend the money and get that done. Now maybe you can get one of those guys. I don't know if you get more than one. Maybe you get two of those guys.
I think you have to get two to meet that number at
but
least.
Contreras has to be one of them. And then after Contreras, then you make the decision on Terang or Madej. I would assume it's Madej and not Terang. But you then would have to make a decision on those two. From the 262, Chapman, Aroldis Chapman's not a starter. That's very correct. So the wear and tear on his arm is not what it would be long-term for Miz, unless Miz eventually moved to the bullpen. Absolutely. You're 100% true, right? Chapman's not going out there and throwing every fifth day, 6-7 innings. So you're right. So from that aspect, there isn't a guy? Is there a guy outside of Nolan Ryan? I mean, who else is there? Do we have a guy that's pitched 10, 15 years without an elbow or shoulder surgery, throwing that hard every 5 days? Is there a guy?
Not in 30 years, probably. No.
I mean, literally, Hunter Green's just coming off injury right now for the Reds. So, like, is there a guy? You want to start talking about Hall of Fame and all this other stuff. You pitched 10 years without injury, throwing that hard, put him in. Just for that alone, put him in. Right? No question about that. Alan Cedarburg, you're next on the Nikolai Law Talking text line. What's up, Al?
What's up, Swag? How you guys doing today? Staying cool?
Yeah, it's air conditioned in here, so we're all right. Yes.
I feel it. All right, good deal. So, I mean, this is such a cliche, damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like, no matter which way you look at this, if we pay him and it turns to crap, everyone's going to be up in arms. You know, if we don't, and then he goes and wins a World Series somewhere else, it's classic Milwaukee Brewers and Mark is cheap. And, you know, so you can't win. I think, honestly, my point of view on it, and I'm no scout. I've never claimed to be. I have been around enough people in baseball who have talked about Mizorowski as the next coming of a hybrid of Pedro Martinez and Nolan Ryan. And you've seen it. I mean, the numbers are there. It's just watching. I mean, someone who has that much command at that speed in those areas of the strike zone, whatever you can do. And I love what Charlie brought up, like, because by 2029, we're going to have to give him something. Arbitration's going to screw us. And I hope that is changed by the time the new salary cap comes into play, a whole different story. But just work with the man and his agent and see if we can do something in the middle. That's what I'm saying. I mean, maybe like a 3-year, $100 million deal or something, an extension. I don't know. Let's get creative here. But don't you think we have to kind of meet in the middle, Sparky?
No, I'm not paying him.
Oh, my God. You think it's Suppan 2.0?
No, I don't. I don't think it's soup on anything. I just think he's going to be way too expensive if he stays healthy. And if he gets hurt, then you're not going to want to pay him that number anyhow, because once you get hurt once, normally the second one comes along at some point. You start thinking about guys that have Tommy John that are younger. What happens? They have a second one. They have a third one. Like, it's hardly ever, a guy had Tommy John in his 20s and he was healthy the rest of his career. No, normally a few years later, he has another Tommy John.
Your Capiano mention was a great one. I agree with that. That was a great call.
And that dude was in shape, I tell you, man. That dude was ripped and he still kept getting hurt.
6'6", 6'7", too, wasn't he?
Yes. No doubt. Thanks for the call. Yes. Listen. We had Giannis. We enjoyed Giannis. Giannis got us a championship, which was awesome. And now he's gone. We enjoyed Brad. He got us a championship. Gone. We had Rodgers. championship. Gone. Cross your fingers and pray to whoever, whatever you pray to. I pray to God. You pray to whoever you want. That this dude, when he leaves, we have a championship to talk about with him too. Because from a positional player standpoint, they're coming, people. They are coming, and they are coming strong. Like, I was reading today, a couple more kids down in the Dominican Summer League. They're absolutely crushing the ball right now. They are coming. So they're going to have bats around Mizorowski. Then if they have one or two more pitchers pan out to be on this same rookie type deal with Mizorowski to get going to that next level, maybe they're able to get it done at the end of the day. Because as many of these guys you can get hooked up on these long-term deals where there's not much money, now you can really go all in to spend in short spurts, right? So if my starting 8 position players, if those guys are out there on the field and you're like, okay, I have that dude under control for 8 years, that dude for 10, that dude for 8, and that's my outfield. My outfield's taken care of, right? I got Churio, I got Lara, and then whoever the other person is that eventually you pay. Adam Shefsky, whoever. Boom, that's done. I got to worry about that. I got Medea under contract. He's taken care of. I got Fisher under contract. He's taken care of. And then catching-wise, I got Caro and I got Dinges behind him. So if Caro doesn't work out, you got another catcher behind Caro that's going to come Marco Dinges. So you got 2 guys there that you feel pretty good about. So now if you want to say, okay, I want to go find a player to play position X and give him 2 years at $40 million, I can. Because I know I'm not going to get screwed in arbitration down the road because I'm buying all that out. We talked about the CBA earlier. That's something that if I'm the players, that's going away. Like, you want something, owners? That's cool. We're eliminating arbitration. That's out. I don't care if you slot it to say, okay, in the last 3 years, that would have been arbitration, right? We make it black and white. If you finished here statistically, you get this much of a raise each year. If you're finished here, it's this, whatever. Just make it black and white. There's no arbitration. You get paid based on your numbers. That's it. No more going in and having the opposing GM rip you down after he tells you he loves you and destroy you after you have some great year, and then you're mad. It's Corbin Burns, Josh Hader, and these guys. No, eliminate that. That should be something that the players are like, if we give you this, then arbitration is gone completely. We want it wiped out.
I think if the owners were smart, they would probably agree to that. After watching what happened again with Tarek Skubal this past season, I think you're going to start seeing a precedent be set that a lot of these younger players are setting or hitting their peaks earlier in their careers than we've seen in the past. And because of that, when they get to arbitration, they're already going to have a higher base to stand on. And these owners are going to start losing a lot more cases there. So if they were smart, they'd say, sure, yeah, go away. We'll pay you what you want right away.
Got some text coming in on the Nicolay Law Talking text line 414. Spark is absolutely correct. Small market teams can sink big money into pitchers. Not only do they impact the team 1 in every 5 games, but if they are eating up 30+ million per year on your payroll, you just can't do it, unfortunately. It's why they have been giving these early extensions to only position players. Agreed. Justin in Watertown, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Sparky. So I think the Brewers would be willing to extend him prior to free agency, but I don't think if Mrs. Agent was smart, they'd wait until his collective bargaining thing is over and figure out where things are going, right? Like you were talking about, if they shorten the nut date, the years, he's only got 2 ARB years or 1 ARB year, then why are we going to sign a deal? If they keep it the same and he's got his 4 years left, okay, maybe we'll sign that extension all the way through those ARB years, something along those lines. But I think this collective bargaining agreement is really going to slow things down and hinder their ability to make decisions. But at the same time, that cap and then that floor, it's only going to benefit the Brewers. Like you were saying, they're going to have to be forced to sign some guys, keep them around. But at the same time, I'm a history teacher, so it's like the great compromise. We're going to give something to the small markets. Now we got to do something for the big markets, which isn't going to hurt us. So I'm just waiting to see what that's going to be.
Justin, can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah.
Why a history teacher?
Well, so I was a coach.
Okay.
I coached volleyball for 20 years.
All right.
And then I got into teaching because I could coach and still get paid a pretty good, decent salary.
So you didn't go to school to be
teachers. Generally become teaching.
Right. You didn't go to school to be a history teacher.
So my long-term goal was to be a college D1 volleyball coach. In order to do that, I had to have a degree. In order to be a coach, while I was making money, I became a teacher. But then I got into it too late, and so then the college thing didn't work out because then I had a family and kids and all of the jazz.
Yep.
And now I got into administration. So
nice. All right. Very good. Thanks, Justin. I appreciate the background. Appreciate it. Thanks for the call. My kid's friend went to school, and he was going to go to be a history teacher. Mm-hmm. Did a semester and said, nope, not doing this. Left school and joined a trade.
Yeah.
See ya. He's like, I don't want to do this.
I've heard a lot of people that kind of did what Justin did and have other plans within the school, wanting to do something maybe a little bit more niche, and then they just choose history as that field to go into because he wanted to do something else. My other buddy did the same thing. He actually really wanted to be like a math specialist, but that's a really hard position to just get into if you're not teaching normally. Yeah. And they didn't have any math roles. So he's like, I'll teach history for a couple of years, and he hated it and stopped teaching history.
I gotta get sidetracked here a little bit. So last night I was talking to one of the parents at the baseball tryout I was at. I was like, hey, what does your son want to do? Do you know? Hey, you're 10-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
Like my kid is like, he wants to be like a pediatrician, work with kids, or he wants to be like a teacher of some sort, like a gym teacher, something like that, right? But he's wanted the last couple of years. That's all he talks about are those two things. Not everybody at 10 is going to know for certain what they want to do, and he'll change his mind, I'm sure, at some point. But that's where he is. So I said, what about your kid? Professional athlete at 10, right? Mm-hmm. So as a parent, do you allow that to continue all the way through? Professional athlete, or at some point do you go, okay, but if that doesn't work, what else would you like to do? At 10, it's too young to have that conversation. At 10, you allow them to dream. You're going to do your thing. At some point, you, I think, have a conversation about, okay, if that's not it, if you're not going to be in the MLB, what else? I think it probably, for me, it's like high school.
Yeah.
You can dream through middle school. I don't care. But once we get to high school, then you got to start having the conversation when you start getting towards that junior year of going, okay, am I going to college? Am I going into the trades? What do I want to do? I think that's probably closer.
I think even at 10, even through middle school, yes, you should allow them to dream and have those goals. But I also think you shouldn't stop encouraging other things that they like to do or other things that they have some kind of interest in because they say they want to be a professional athlete from 10 through middle school. Continue to push books on them, continue to have them learn new things and take something out of the other classes that they're learning, and to have that kind of mindset on their own that maybe there is another path to go down.
I'll be honest. I really am surprised that more kids aren't talking about playing esports for a career. I really am. Like Brian Stratton, they got an esports program. And I really thought by the time my kid got to this age, with esports being as popular as they are,
good, man.
Yes, they do. There's GMs, really there's coaches of those esports teams, like all of that stuff. I just thought that half these kids in school now, as much video game playing is going on, that most of them be like, I want to be in esports.
The threshold's too high. I think they watch some of those other gamers on YouTube and go, I can't do that, even if I'm playing.
Crazy. Hey, are you looking for a college when you can excel in the classroom and on the field? At Bryan & Stratton College's Wauwatosa campus, you can compete in NJCAA Division II athletics with more than 20 men's and women's teams to choose from. Keep playing the sport you love while earning your associate degree in business, healthcare, criminal justice, or digital marketing. Athletic scholarships are available for those who qualify. Visit bryanstratton.edu and discover how Bryan & Stratton College is built different for you. Track and field athletes, they are looking for you right now. If you're in Duluth, in Superior, if you're in Wausau, Madison, listening to the fan there, WNFL in the Fox Valley, Green Bay, and Appleton area. Again, if you're a parent and you're trying to figure this out with your kid, where they're going to go to school and what they're going to do, you go there. Get a great associate's degree. Boom. That's wonderful. And then if your kid is good enough, maybe that transitions them for 2 more years at a Division I school. It is a good thing to be a part of, I promise you. Bryan & Stratton College. Again, check them out today. bryanstratton.edu. Coming up next, rumors floating out there per Mark Stein, formerly of ESPN. The Bucs have interest in a certain player with the Denver Nuggets. We'll tell you who that is. Coming up next, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sully Cup Charlie sounds of the day. There is a report out there from Mark Stein that the Bucks have interest in Nuggets forward Peyton Watson. Now, Peyton Watson, 6'8", averaged 14, 15 points a game last year. And there seems to be a lot of hope and promise that he could eventually turn into something significant. Shot over 40% from three-point range, 41%, I believe it was, from three-point range. How'd it go okay year? The problem is that you don't know, can he handle being a guy? Meaning you're going to be our number 2 scorer. I need you to increase your shots per game. You got the Joker. You got Jamal Murray. You don't have that. Cam Johnson, right? Same type of situation where people look at Cam Johnson and go, maybe he's on the move here. Cam Johnson and this dude, both about the same size. So you have that conversation. Would you want one over the other? This situation with Watson, you're going to have to pay him in order to get him here. An extension of some amount of money, whether that's $20 million a year or whatever the number ends up being, you're going to have to pay it. And him and Ryan Rollins are relatively the same age. So you're putting guys together now that you think or believe can grow together as a core going forward. If you watch Summer League again last night, Brandon Burries. I know what Chilla said, the Malcolm Brogdon thing, and I 1,000% see Malcolm Brogdon now every time I watch this dude play. What Chilla's completely ruined me from College Sports Weekly on how I look at Burries. Having said that, he understands, Name put it perfectly last night when we were watching it, he just understands pace of play, right? Slow things down and still get your shot. Figuring out how to create enough space to get his shot, whether it's a step back, just a pump fake, guy flies by, boom, now I hit my shot. He threw one like no look bounce pass to a guy cutting to the rim that eventually passed it out, pocket pass type deal. That was sweet. I was like, damn, all right, that was pretty good right there. You know, his 3-ball was going, his mid-range jumper was going, getting to the rim and finishing. Like, he shows you everything. I still have questions defensively if he's quick enough to guard it too, but I like everything that I've seen from Burries. You watch him, you go, okay, push him in and let's go. So if the backcourt is Rollins and Burries and Peyton Watson potentially is your 3, and that's what it looks like at this point. And then Miles Turner is your 5 for now. He won't be the long-term answer. And then Khalil Ware is your 4, right? So that's your starting 5. So it's Rollins, Burries, Watson, Ware, and Miles Turner is your starting 5. I don't know how many games you win, but it'll be fun to watch at least. It'll be something to see how that all works. And like you brought up, Jericho Sims, that's your backup 5, right? That he's going to go out there and
start over Ware?
Yeah, I'm sure he will. But that's just for the time being. I mean, long-term, Hero and Kuzma both may be starting on opening night. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying by the time the season ends, those dudes are gone.
Well,
whether they get traded at the deadline, whether they
get
get traded at the deadline or whatever, but those are expiring deals, right? Turner isn't. So those two will be gone because they're expiring deals at the deadline for something. So by the end of the year, I think in a perfect scenario for the Bucks, Rollins and Burries is your starting backcourt. And then if you're able to add a legitimate 3, like this guy or somebody else, to be there and be set there. And then Khalil Ware is your 4 to eventually be your 5, or your 4, and then somebody else is going to be your 5, whatever. But if you can at least get 3 guys that can score. So if Rollins can give you 20 and Burries can give you 20 and this cat can give you 20, now all of a sudden you're like, okay, if I've got 3 20-point scorers a night, we can talk about winning 40, 45 games every year and can start figuring out what the rest of the puzzle pieces look like. If those 3 young guys can all produce, and we haven't even brought up Amen yet as far as what he is. Now, he's not going to be much this year. I don't have much faith there. Okay, you bring up Jang, right? Think about it from this perspective. Stein says they're interested in Watson. If they sign Watson, they're done on Jang. what are we doing? Because Jang showed you flashes.
Well,
not
unless
like Watson, but he showed you flashes like, ooh, he could be really, really good.
Unless you're concerned about Braden Burries not being able to guard a 2, puts him down into 1, and Ryan Rounds isn't a long-term option, where then Peyton Watson, there's a concern about him not being able to guard bigger wings there too, because he's a little bit of a skinnier player. He plays the 2, and then you have a really big 2. Then you have Zhang or Amit switching between the 3 and 4 in that situation. One of them hopefully puts on a little bit of weight and can kind of figure it out defensively, and then you figure it out at center. Maybe Clell Ware plays center then for you too, in a little bit of a smaller, faster paced lineup. I think you can make that work too.
This is what happens, Bucks fans. Charlie just did it, right? You start negotiating with yourself and your brain, figuring out ways of how this can be successful with the pieces that are limited, with nothing proven really. Of, well, if this guy does this here and he does this, and then that goes here, and boom, all of a sudden we could be really good. That's what I did for 20 years with the Brewers, waiting for them to be a playoff team, man. Tim Allen and I did this every single year. I just know if Jack Voigt can do this for us, and if this guy can do that, and this can happen here, man, they could be right there at 500, maybe have a chance at the playoffs at the All-Star break. We did it every year. And now you're sitting here with the Bucks having the same conversation, trying to justify in your head, how do they get good enough, quick enough to be okay? So if Jang works, then you're not having this conversation. And as far as size goes, if I'm the Bucks and I'm Taylor Jenkins, I'm okay with it. I put weight on Giannis. Now you have to look at him and go, can you add weight on him?
Well, and
right?
Jim Ozarski has brought that up in the past too. That's a very different situation. What Giannis was coming from, his background, he probably just wasn't eating enough. He wasn't working out the way he probably should.
He worked out like a beast when he got
And his
here.
frame said that he should have been bigger, and that when he finally got back to the level that he probably should be nutrition-wise, that really is what accelerated him to be this big, because he was always kind of meant to be this big. A lot of these guys, like, that are in the United States that are working through these AAU programs that have a lot more nutritional coaching earlier on in life, they're at the weight they're supposed to be at. So just putting on weight isn't as easy as it seems, when Giannis, I think, was just underweight and undervalued nutrition at that point in his life.
But we've talked about it before. Thon Maker was another guy that came over here. You looked at him. They had him eating for like an hour straight every day. They could not get any weight on that dude, no matter what they gave him to eat or how much he worked out and everything else. And it was uber frustrating for the Bucks. It was like, dude, if we can get this guy some size, he might be something. And they never could get it. So that's what I'm saying. It all depends on the individual case. If they feel like they can add weight to him and get something out of it, I think it makes sense that you potentially make that move. All right, take a quick time out, come back. Charlie Sounds of the day. Are we gonna have time to do Charlie Sounds of the day? How are you feeling?
I can get at least one in.
No, that's not
all right. That's not confident enough.
No. We'll move Charlie Sounds of the day to 420. Look at Charlie Sounds of the day at 420. Hey, the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network is proudly outfitted by Burkhardt Sporting Goods, our official apparel partner. Outfit your team or company with custom apparel today at BSG 1881. That's BSG 1881. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome in. Don't forget, Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby. 2,000 square foot center screen. 2 levels, all kinds of different seating options. Always recommend reserving your seat ahead of time because they're always busy. 30 sporting events at one time, right there on that big screen. Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen, unmatched, man. All-day brunch. Who doesn't want that? Then burgers, wraps, wings, tendies, salads, whatever. They got it. Over 40 different beers on tap. Over a dozen different specialty cocktails. Check out the Potawatomi Sportsbook today. And don't forget, shuttles to and from Brewers home games all season long. Again, go to Potawatomi.com for more details. That's Potawatomi.com. Wisconsin Sports Daily with you. Tom in Cedarburg joins us next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What's up, Tom?
How you doing, guys?
Good.
It's always, like you said, Sparky, it's fun kind of talking about what their lineup's going to be, now the season starts, mid-season.
Yeah.
But the thing I keep going back to is what I think is the best improvement of this offseason is Taylor Jenkins.
Sure.
He's going to be in charge of all this, but you know how frustrating Doc Rivers was, and whatever lineup we decide on or whatever a horse does, I'm just happy this guy is here, that we have a real coach.
I agree with you. And a coach that has a proven track record of developing younger players when he was in Memphis. That's the other part of this that I think is big. It's not like he's only coached veteran teams and doesn't know how to coach a young team. He's done this project once before.
Yeah, and it speaks to the culture change, too.
Correct.
It's a culture change. We talked about culture change. Well, it starts with the coach. It really does. And I'm actually excited for the season, and I didn't think I'd say that 3 months ago.
No, and I don't think anybody did. I want to see how it all works, too. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it, Tom. Jaime Jaquez, did you saw that? Jaquez talks to Taylor Jenkins. First thing he says is, all right, coach, what do I got to work on? What do I need to get better at? Mm-hmm. Obviously, he knew the background on Jenkins, talking to these draft kids,
right,
and meeting with them. I mean, like, hey, man, this part here, you really aren't so good on this. You really need to work on this. That was the story coming out of the draft workouts and stuff of how he was approaching players. So I was like, okay, I'll just beat you to the punch. You tell me, what do I need to work on prior next season? Because if you're Ware and you're him, you're seeing an opportunity to grow and being left to play in the rotation, not to look over your shoulder, see if Spo's going to bench you every time, and see how much bigger you can be as far as production goes on a new team with a new start and new coaching staff and a new set of eyes. And I think anybody in that situation, if they felt like they were being held back or whatever, feels a lot better about things.
100%. And if you're Jaime Jaquez, he's a guy who loved being in Miami. He's from around there. He has friends in that area. So that really sucks to leave there. It's really cool to see that even though he's probably hurting a little bit from leaving the Miami Heat, he's still coming in and wanting to work and ready to work for this Milwaukee Bucks team.
The Banana Frosty Swirl is a perfect treat from Wendy's Minion Friends. They created the banana cream sauce with real banana. The flavor is like a classic banana cream pie or pudding and pairs perfectly with Wendy's Vanilla Frosty. I had one with the chocolate Frosty ice cream. Oh, so good. I had it yesterday at my desk. Oh, my goodness gracious. So good. Highly recommend. Green and Gold update is coming up next. Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's revisit the Jordan Love dumb survey from yesterday because there's new numbers out today, and now Mina Kimes is getting into the act. That's right ahead on Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is time again. Welcome in hour number 3. Don't forget, Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up comes up at 5 o'clock. Gives you the best of what happened today on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. And then before you know it, the leadoff show will be back on the air again coming up on Friday from 5 until 6:30. Tim Allen will be back on Friday night with a Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show. And into the weekend, we go with our first series for the Milwaukee Brewers. And I, for one, am missing it. Like, I'm so used to going home and watching the Brewers that I am losing my mind right now that there's nothing to watch.
Would you miss it less if maybe some more Brewers made the damn All-Star game?
No.
Maybe we could watch them a little bit more?
I don't care about the All-Star game, if we're being honest. It does not matter. I never really have gotten into watching the All-Star game to begin with. Contreras is in there tonight. Cool. Hope he does well. But other than that, last year I was all hyped because I wanted to see Mizorowski pitch because everybody was slandering him type deal. Oh, he shouldn't be here. Blah. Then I was like, okay, I have a rooting interest. I want to make sure he shuts everybody up. So from that aspect, yes. Will I probably have it on tonight? Yeah, probably. At times I'll have it on. Will I watch the whole thing, every single pitch? Probably not watching every single pitch of that entire baseball game. I'll probably watch till Contreras is done, and then I'll probably shut it off. But
would you rather watch the World Cup over the All-Star game?
Yes, and that's probably what I'll be watching more of tonight is the World Cup, but probably over the MLB All-Star game. More than likely, that's what'll probably happen in our household because we've been we were out over the weekend in Green Bay at, I think it's called Home Stretch, something like that, in Titletown District. I forgot the name of it. I apologize. But they've got all these simulators and stuff. And the Brewers game was on against the Pirates, right? And that was cool. And everybody was cool with that. But everybody, all the parents at the table were all focused on the Norway soccer game. That's what everybody was watching, Norway and England. And we sat there and watched the entire thing before we got the kids and left. Watched the entire game there.
It's because there's been so much drama this year. All the games come down to the wire.
Yes.
There's been weird conspiracy theories around every single corner of this tournament. It's just so crazy. Like, the storylines are awesome.
Yes, no doubt about it. All right. Now, it's not that football, but it is time to talk about the other football.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Okay, so we've got some stuff going on here in the green and gold update that we want to get into a little bit here. So yesterday we talked about that dumb list on ESPN, their supposed survey of Jeremy Fowler with all these NFL coaches and executives and so forth, and Jordan Love not making their top 10 and Caleb Williams being 10th and Love being on the outside, and we went all over that. So today we have our pre-show meeting this afternoon before the show, and I was like, all right, Charlie, what you got? Charlie came armed and ready for the green and gold segment.
Do my best.
Right? And you came in with your own set of rankings outside of potentially ESPN and what some other people are saying about the top quarterbacks.
For sure. So Pro Football Focus and Pro Football Network both put out their own personal rankings, and both of them gave a little bit more respect to Jordan Love in their rankings there. Pro Football Focus had him at the highest rated, or not the highest rated quarterback in the league, but the highest rated that he's gotten so far. He was number 6 on their list.
That makes sense because they're based a lot on numbers. They do watch film, but a lot of their stuff is numbers, and based on numbers, he was 7 last year. So him being 6, that makes sense.
And then if you head on over to Pro Football Network, they ranked him at number 8 on their list over there. Only ahead of, in that list, Dak Prescott and Baker Mayfield at 9 and 10.
I like those lists better. Right. If we're being honest, yeah. Right. Makes more sense that he's viewed better in that light. But others have decided to weigh in on this as well. Friend of the show, Peter Bukowski of the Leap newsletter and Locked On Packers. He had some things to say about that top 10 list.
The criticisms that stick to Jordan Love don't seem to stick to other quarterbacks. And I have never gotten a reasonable, logical explanation for why that is. Jordan Love did not make ESPN's poll of top quarterbacks, talking to scouts and coaches and evaluators. So we're talking about people in the league don't think Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback. And the criticisms that I hear about Jordan Love are about clutch play and playoff wins and those sorts of things. He's reckless with the football. Well, Jordan Love last season had a better interception rate than 8 of the 10 quarterbacks that made ESPN's list. Justin Herbert, for example, consistently ranked above Jordan Love in these exercises. Oh, Jordan Love in the playoff game. Justin Herbert has a 27-point lead gacked in the playoffs on his resume. He has been a materially worse playoff performer than Jordan Love. He remains Teflon. Dak Prescott in the top 7 on this list. He is famously someone who shows up small in big games. That has been the knock on him his entire career. He has really one good playoff game in his NFL career. He's got a longer track record of bad performances. And yet, no, he's got to be ahead of Jordan Love. Someone explain this to me.
I can't. I'd love to explain it to you. I can't, Peter Bukowski. I can't explain it to you, but I'm glad you're fired up like everybody else is fired up. That's why I said I want names of who the heck voted in this thing on ESPN. I want names. Bring me the people who voted on this. And then I'd like to know what they think of other players on the Packers to have further conversations. Okay, well, if you don't think he's that good, then I'd like to know, what do you think of Christian Watson? What do you think of Josh Jacobs? What do you think of Tucker Kraft? And furthermore, we didn't talk about this yesterday. Did he pool the same executives for all position groups?
I would assume so.
So he had one GM on the phone, said, dude, can I grab you for an hour? I need to go over all this stuff. And you go over all of them. Or did he get a different group of executives for each different position group? So how did we do this? Did we go the lazy way and say, we're just going to have this GM talk on everything. We're going to have this scouting director talk on everything. We're going to have this assistant coach and that head coach, and we're just going to talk on everything. Same 6 people are going to talk on all positions. Or did he go out and get different people for each position group? That's another question I'd have for Jeremy Fowler.
I don't know if I'd want different people for each position group.
I would. If you're doing, I'll tell you why. If I'm doing pitching, or not pitching, if I'm doing quarterbacking, right, then a quarterback's coach should be interviewed for this or asked his opinion. An offensive-minded head coach should be asked about this. A defensive-minded coach should be asked about this. And then, of course, GM, scouting directors, that doesn't matter. But when you go to running backs coaches should be involved in this process. Offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators should be involved. Like, you can make it work to figure out who really is those guys based on the guys that coach these guys and watch tape of their position group every week. And I'm willing to bet you that is not how this was done.
Yeah, but also wouldn't you have just too much variance in the different lists and stuff? Wouldn't you have too many different opinions, too many different biases? Wouldn't you want
You're
more,
asking them to vote. They still put down numbers or however they do
I get what you're saying, but it's going to be different people voting on every single thing. So it's going to be, again, a different vote every single position group.
Great. That's fine. I don't want the same opinion from the same dude on all of them. I want different specialties involved in each group. One is not tied to the other. I don't need the same group of people voting on wide receiver that vote on running back. Why do I want that for? I don't want the same group of people voting on quarterback that voted on linebacker. Why do I want that for? It should be specialized to the same. No, that's different. Specialized to those groups.
That's a different kind of list, though. Like, he's just looking for from executives too. That's what this is. Executives is not coaches. That's not any of that. That's the front office people. That's what executives mean. He's going to the same 10 people. I don't want 50, 60 different executives, different people in different roles inside these offices. These guys, I think, because you're talking to these executives, know how to build a team, would know generally each position that they're talking about. It's not, and frankly, each coach, a running backs coach should know what wide receivers do. A running backs coach should know what cornerbacks do and whether or not a guy's good at cornerback.
They surveyed league executives, coaches, and scouts. Coaches were most certainly involved, and that is my point. This should have, again, been divided up. Furthermore, let's say
these guys should know football no matter what position group they're coaching.
Fine, but let me ask you this.
Or if you said what front office spot
if you came to me and said, okay, we're building this survey, how do you think is the most fair way to do it? Do you let him just pick his 6 friends? Okay, go ahead. And, oh, by the way, they're all from the NFC, and we have nobody representing
I wouldn't
the
have
AFC.
only 6 people doing this, first of all.
Well, we don't know.
It would be more than 6, and I would assume it's more than 6. You have 3 different groups of pools of people you're talking to. It would probably be more than 6.
Doesn't say how many he talks to.
But 6 seems low. 6 would be from somebody who's doing this all the time for ESPN. Seems like malpractice. Almost. You have to talk to at least 20 people would be my
no chance. No way.
What do you mean no chance?
There's no chance he did 20 people.
There's no chance he was talking to 6 people.
I think there's a much better chance that there was 6 than there was 20.
No shot.
There's no way that dude talked to 20 people for all these votes.
No shot. I bet they could. He did.
Nope. I don't believe you.
Why not?
Maybe
Why
you're
not?
right, because that's way too much work. He's not doing that.
That can't be that much work.
No way.
A guy that's
20
been in
guys?
the industry for as long as he has for ESPN, that he doesn't have connections, they can't just text somebody and send them a Google sheet where they can write down the top players, 10 players in positions.
You could send out an email that says, here, vote on these, but he's got quotes in here from different executives, which means now you're on the phone, each guy for however long to go through
an entire offseason to do that. That's not that hard.
If it is
and probably a team helping him do that too.
A team?
Couple interns calling in on some of these guys.
Okay. All right. Well, that's different. If you're saying Fowler's not even doing it himself, he's got other people doing
not.
his
He's
work.
probably doing a third of the work, half the work. Either way, he's got people helping him out. I'm sure he can get this done.
I wish I had an insight on how many. I bet you it's less than 10. I would be almost willing to bet my paycheck that dude did not call more than 10 people. That's my guess. I've never worked at ESPN. I don't know how many of these guys go into it, but boy, oh boy, I'd love to know when they do, because this isn't the first time anybody's done it. The NBA does it too, right? The NBA does their survey of executives. So there's got to be a standard number of people that they think that they have to canvass in order to justify it. Mina Kimes is another one from, what is it, NFL Today? Is that her podcast?
And that's the show on ESPN.
The show, NFL Today. And she talked about Jordan Love being left off the ESPN list.
I am puzzled by the omission of Jordan Love, who I actually have atop his division. It's really hard to find a meaningful quarterback metric where he doesn't rank top 5 even. I mean, he was 3rd in QBR, 2nd in EPA per dropback, 3rd in DVOA, which counts for opponent. And something that's brought up a lot with him as a criticism is taking care of the football. He had a lower interception rate last season than 8 of the top 10 quarterbacks on this list. So I don't think that perception matches reality. To talk about what I see on tape when I watch him, an aggressive, talented thrower of the football who can make every throw, all parts of the field, who compensates at times for what I thought was a pretty average at best run game, and not a group of road beaters at receiver. He just looks like a top 10 quarterback to me, the kind that lifts up everyone around him. So I think he belonged on this list, and I was surprised that he didn't make it.
In fairness, Mina Kimes is a Packer person. So when I say that, I don't mean that as a negative. What I mean, though, is she's very pro Packers and has been for the last couple of years, right? Kay Adams, a very pro Packers person and has been for the last couple of years. There are certain people in the media that love pushing the Packers up, which, doing what I do and being a Packers fan, I enjoy this. So I'm not that surprised that Mina Kimes says that Love belongs there. At the same time, Mina Kimes watches a lot of film and knows her stuff too. So you also have to respect what she had to do and what she had to say at the end of the day as well. That list is just absolutely god-awful. Coming up next, we will get to Charlie's Sounds of the Day. That's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Okay, I'm not happy. I literally thought there was a World Cup game on today or match on tonight. So I was like, I wonder what time it starts at. So I go and I Google it. No, it's already done. It already happened. If you don't want to know the score, turn on your radio. Spain beats France 2-0. Mbappe, gone. That's not great for TV ratings. It's not great for TV ratings.
I mean, it's part of the drama that's been happening this entire World Cup, though.
It's in Dallas. Why are we playing that not in prime time at night? The other semifinal is tomorrow at 2 o'clock. That one's in Georgia, in Atlanta. Argentina and England at 2 in the afternoon. What brainchild came up with this one? You got to be kidding me.
I mean, FIFA hasn't exactly been the smartest this entire tournament at points, so I'm not surprised. I think this is like, I think they do this because they want the entire world to watch. It's not just the United States watching, so that they set the times to a point where everybody across the globe, people in Spain, people in France, people in Japan can sit back and watch this game too. I get it. The World Cup is in the United States, but it's the World Cup. You got to cater to everybody.
I'm not even sure if this is Central Time, 2 o'clock or Eastern Time, whatever. It's tomorrow afternoon, regardless. Then on Saturday, they have the semifinal loser versus the other semifinal loser. Why?
Third place game.
Oh, who cares?
You don't want to, it's the World Cup. You don't want to find out who's the third best team in the world?
No, I don't. I don't care. And then the championship is on Sunday afternoon, not in prime time again. It's so dumb.
Again, it's for the entire world. It's not just for you, Sparky.
Do you know how many people in this country are not going to watch that and think it's at night? And they're going to go like, where is it tonight? It's got to be on.
The people who care about it know what time
like
it is.
5 hours ago.
The people who know what's happening, people that have been wanting to watch this know what time it is. It's on a Sunday, so 2 o'clock shouldn't be that difficult for some people. Most people, I don't know. I'm not like, I think you're just mad because you missed it today. I think that's the only thing you're
main event stuff should be in prime time. Like, that's how it is.
But again, it's not prime time for everybody. Just because it's prime time for us doesn't mean it's prime time for everybody.
It's going to be prime time for a lot of the world, though.
I mean, 2 p.m., I'm sure is prime time for majority of the world. Let's find out.
Go ahead. Google it. What time is 2 p.m. Central in France? Figure that out. Or Spain, or I don't know. Pick, whatever. Madrid. Well, what time is 2 p.m. there?
2 p.m. is 9 p.m. in France.
So that's even later. What about in like Madrid? That would be another one.
8 p.m. closer to Madrid. So that's closer.
So nighttime, prime time. So every country gets to watch it in prime time, except the host country. Like, they don't change it for the U.S. when they're in another country. They play it at their time.
I know. I bet they would have played the U.S. games at like 5.
Gotta wake up at 1 in the morning to watch a damn World Cup game. Get out of here.
I think if the U.S. was in this like Final Four part of the tournament, they would have adjusted the times to make sure the U.S. could watch.
I just, whatever. I'm just bitter and mad about it, and I'm just not happy. So we'll just move on. Before I get more mad, we'll move on.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
You're the host country, and you don't even get the time slots you want. That's the dumbest thing ever. If I was them, I'd be like, we're playing under the lights. Like, that's the deal. We want it. We'll take it. But the reason they're not doing it is because soccer's more popular in the rest of the world. So they're going to cater to their prime. Right. They're going to cater to their prime time slots and screw the U.S. in the deal. Anyways. Oh, by the way, in case you were wondering on that one. Yep. On I don't have it up. But they on ESPN, they put cheapest ticket type deal. That's like $2,500.
Oh, so cheap.
To get into one of these games, man. Good Lord. All right, go ahead.
All right, first up here, we're going to head back over and talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. We mentioned him earlier when we were talking about potential Peyton Watson trades from the Nuggets, but Braden Burries has been playing awesome in the Summer League so far. This is Kevin O'Connor on the Kevin O'Connor Show discussing the ceiling for Braden Burries.
You could argue he's been the best guard in Summer League. And I think for Milwaukee, obviously it's the post-Giannis era. You're hoping that you have something to latch on to. Nate Ament's been okay as the 13th pick. As expected, he'll be up and down. But Braden Burries, man, as a big, strong guard, he looks like the real deal. And this is why I reported at the time of the NBA draft combine that he was in the conversation to go 5th to the Clippers. So in an alternate universe, he's the 5th pick in the draft, and the Clippers might be looking like geniuses for taking him ahead of where people projected him to go, which was in that 10 range where Milwaukee ended up getting him. So look, I think Braden Burries, in terms of your question, Mr. Downtown, his ceiling, we know his floor. We know it's high-level role player with all the things he does as a high IQ guy who can cut and screen and defend and crash the boards. He does all the dirty work, and we've seen that in this summer league. But we're seeing the ceiling could be a lot higher than people anticipated with the development of his jumper off the dribble, and that could mean he could end up someday perhaps the best or second best guard in this year's draft class.
Yeah, that's great. That made me laugh and put a smile on my face. Man, if that's true, y'all need to just leave John Horst alone with drafting, because if that dude ends up being that, the John Horst hit a home run with that pick. Home run. Just based on Summer League alone, it looks like he hit a home run with Burries. And again, it's not the real NBA. He's not playing the top guys in the NBA yet. So we'll see how this all looks when you get to that point. I just saw it come across the TV. The Bonsta is done in Summer League. They said he's not playing anymore for the Wizards. Are you done seeing Braden Burries at this point, or do you allow him to continue playing in Vegas? Remember, he played in Sacramento. Now he's playing in Vegas. Do you say, we're done, Mr. Burries, you can rest now, and Ament's going to play the rest of the way out regardless because he hasn't had any run or not enough run yet?
I don't know. It depends on how many guys you still really want to see out of that summer league roster. I think the Wizards are such a young team.
That Boston kid looked pretty good last night.
He did. And I think the Wizards, again, are such a young team that they have so many different players that they're still trying to work out, find out what kind of roles those guys could have. That Dibanza, he's going to be in your rotation, probably starting for your team this season. You're okay with taking him out.
And you don't want to get him hurt. That's the thing with Burries.
I don't know if the Bucks are in the same kind of spot that the Wizards are in. When I looked at the summer league roster going into this kind of off-season tournament that they have, I wasn't as excited about the entire group. I was excited about Braden Burries. I was excited about Ament. I was excited about some of these other young players getting another chance. Cormac Ryan being back on that roster, that was fun to see too. Like you want to see some of these guys get opportunities, but at the same time, you're there to watch those guys, and the Bucks are there to watch those guys, keep them in there, see what they can do, maybe go win a summer league championship.
The other thing,
hanging up next to the NBA Cup.
Shut up. The other thing that was fun last night was the whole Koa Pete Braden Burries thing. At the end of the half, they go to interview Koa Pete, and he's like, "That was a foul. That's what I know," or whatever. Like, he didn't want to hear about it. They were playing. Burries hits a shot. He's just laughing at him, running back down the other side of the court, because obviously teammates in Arizona. That little rivalry thing that they had going on there was very cool. And again, the Bucks could have taken Koa Pete, I believe. He was still there, and went this way. Now, again, the reason Koa Pete didn't get drafted, I think, was because offensive question marks around him. Defensively, he can play. Athletically, he can run the floor, get up, he can do all that other stuff. It's just offensively, does he have enough to be a star player in this league? And we'll find out. He played well last night.
Next up, we're going to head on over to MLB All-Star Week, where MLB super agent Scott Boras was talking with the media, and he was discussing the idea of a salary cap in baseball.
We're seeing the dynamics of a decapitating system operate in the NBA, where stars can't stay there. Owners can't do what they want to do. Basketball intellect can't form. The Boston Celtics can't compete with Oklahoma City. For what reason? It is because of a decapitating system. It is not because of the intellect of the franchise or the willingness of the owner. And once you take that promise away, fans are going to say, I no longer can rely on my owner to do what I want him to do.
Okay. Normally when he talks, it's like, okay, he's a businessman. He makes sense. I get what he's saying. This whole decapitating word that he likes to use, like cutting the head off of the Celtics because now they had to move on from Jaylen Brown for financial reasons or whatever the case may be. It's going to happen to the Thunder too, where they're also going to get cut off at the knees and they're going to have to start over. And I hate to break it to you, Scott, but not living in New York or Chicago or Boston or LA, I'm cool with this system. if you're telling me I'm going to get a 10-year run and then I got to start over, which is pretty much what the Bucs had, somewhere in that area, I get a 10-year run and then have to start over. Okay. But if I know I'm going to get that 10-year run every 5 years, right? Maybe be a little bit of a downswing 3 to 5 years. And then boom, we get another 10-year run. And then we have to go back and then we have to build back up and boom, there's another one. I'll take that every day of the week over the Brewers, say 26 years not being in the playoffs, not getting to 500 for 11 straight years. Yeah, give me the other system that the NBA has right now, and I'll see what happens. You mean that the Dodgers can't keep their superstar roster together forever? You mean that they're going to have to break it up and start over at some point? Oh, shucks. Not that, Scott.
Well, just like everybody else in this situation right now, Scott Boras is being selfish. He knows that he gets the most money out of this not being a salary cap, so he's trying to put that out there. You just you can't try to twist it that way, Scott. Just be honest about it, man. Don't come out here and say decapitating system. Just say, yeah, I want to get paid, dude, and this hurts me from getting paid.
Yes, it's absolutely going to hurt from getting paid if you get to that point. Yes.
Let's stick at MLB All-Star Week, where Mike Trout, Angels center fielder and elected to the All-Star game as one of the starters, was discussing how many fans it would take for someone to make contact with a Jacob Misiorowski fastball.
Make contact foul ball? I don't know. You would have to think they would get lucky, maybe, or just straight. They know a fastball's coming.
Just make contact.
Just make contact. I'm saying minimum 100.
Minimum 100.
Yeah.
Brandon Marsh said 1,000.
Yeah, minimum 100. I don't know if that's even just a fan from the stands. That'd be something different, huh? If you pulled somebody from the mid game or something. Hey,
don't you think that's the next thing the All-Star game should do, just to make look what you guys do even more than impressive?
Just pull some random fan out of the stand. Yes. It'd be interesting.
It's a great idea.
It'd be great. Yeah, it'd be interesting for sure.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
Why is it a bad idea, Sparky?
I'm going to look at it from the MLB perspective. While, yes, it would make you understand how difficult their job is, the insurance things on a dude throwing 104 at some dude that
a
has
60-year-old man
that has
they're getting nailed by Jacob Misiorowski fastball.
No, I could kill somebody. There's no chance I'm allowing that to happen if I'm Rob Manfred. This sounds great.
Armor them up a little bit, pat them up a little bit. Give them an extra strong helmet. You can figure it out. Maybe put some kind of plexiglass in front. Find a way to get it done.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is very, very dangerous for average fan getting into the box that has no idea how to deal with that stuff. Just being a major leaguer, I'd be scared out of my mind going against 105. That hits your elbow, hits your rib cage, whatever. Oh my God, I can't even imagine.
Jacob Misiorowski talked about that. He was like, well, I can kind of tell when guys are scared to go against me.
Yep.
He's just saying that with Chris Rose. He's like, right when they walk in the box, I can see it in their eyes.
Tim Dillard talked about it yesterday with us when he was on. As far as my job as a pitcher is to watch you physically in your movements, and then I'll know if I got you before I even throw a pitch based on how you're operating. And we were talking about Joey Ortiz, about how Joey Ortiz now looks like he can't wait to get in the batter's box. Versus when he was going through his thing, you could tell that he was going through it. And every pitcher could tell he was going through it. And now when you get to feeling it and you're just aching to get up there, hey, I want to bat again. This is fun. I want to bat again, right? That is all thing. And that's why the mental side of baseball is just so important, man. If you are in your own head, you are screwed until you get out of your own head.
Well, and that's why it's so important that the Milwaukee Brewers just seem like they just have fun. They just go out there and want to just play baseball. And that's that mentality that Pat Murphy instills too. He knows that they're all so lucky to be playing a children's game. He says that all the time himself. And that, yes, you got to go out there with this mentality that you can win and that this is your job. You also should have fun. And you should also still treat it like you're playing a kid's game, because that's exactly what you're doing.
That's exactly what you're doing. And they're paying you millions and millions of dollars to play a kid's game. Was that 3?
That was 3.
There is Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Don't forget about our fine folks over at Habish and Rotier, baby. Founded in 1930, nearly 100 years of serving Wisconsin communities, 13 locations across the state, including Milwaukee, Green Bay, Madison, Appleton, Kenosha, Lake Geneva, Racine, Rhinelander, Sheboygan, Stevens Point, Waukesha, Wausau, and West Bend. National reputation, hometown service. As we always talk about, yes, national reputation is cool. But if we're being honest, if I'm going in to talk to these people, That's cool. But the other part of the marketing tagline that they use, hometown service, that's the one I care most about. I want to know that you're going to take care of me. Even though you may not be making millions off of my case, but I need to be taken care of. I was the one that was really hurt in a car accident. I'm the one that's trying to figure out how I'm going to pay for these hospital and doctor bills. I'm the one that got my car wrecked, and I don't know how I'm going to get another car now or how I'm going to get to my job or anything else. I'm the one that is coming to you looking for help. And hopefully you're going to treat me just as much as you would treat that other guy that's trying to get $5 million. You'll treat me hopefully the same way and help me like if I was that guy. And their deal with Hometown Services, they want you to feel like, hey, friend, family member, approachable is a word they like to use, not just looking through you, waiting to get to the next appointment. Those are the worst. You just walk out and go, yeah, no, we're not going to have them. They acted like they were not interested in us at all. You don't want that. You won't get that at Habish, and Ratier. Check them out today at Habish.com. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Things Sparky missed. Up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fiver, Charlie using. At some point in Charlie's life, he's going to get old. And then he's going to go see somebody that his kids are going to be like, Dad, come on. You're really going to go see them? We have a sales guy that works here that's taking a couple days off to go see the Backstreet Boys for 2 days.
Old person group for sure. You would definitely go and see them, wouldn't you?
No, I totally made fun of him.
Oh. You seem like a Backstreet Boys type of guy.
No. Backstreet, New Kids, all that. No, never really was a thing. Boys to Men, yes, that was my group. But those other two true groups, no. Do I know the music? I know the music. I've heard the music a million times, all of that. But I'm not really a big concert gower. Like, I want to go see so-and-so in concert.
Wait,
like,
take us behind the scenes. What's your guilty pleasure band that you would go see that concert? Like, you're Backstreet
Boys to Men.
It would just be, that's the guilty pleasure?
Boys to Men. Yeah, for sure.
Else?
Love Boys to Men. And, the one, Mike, I think was the guy's name with the deep voice. Him not being in it and only being 3 instead of the original 4. I've seen them play multiple times since. And, like, they're always usually, I don't think they're there this year. Or maybe they are. I don't know. But they've played Wisconsin State Fair quite a bit over the years, too.
I think like Nelly is.
Yeah, I don't think they are. But Boys to Men, I think, was there last year. They've been there a couple of times. I've seen it at Wisconsin State Fair. But, yeah, Boys to Men would be it for me if I had a guilty pleasure. And you don't have one yet because you're still in your 20s. So,
yeah,
like 20 years from now, then you'll have one.
First concert I ever saw was the Jonas Brothers. That was awesome. I used to love the Jonas Brothers. I grew up with 3 sisters who all loved the Jonas Brothers, so I just thought I kind of had to. They rocked, and they still kind of rock. I've heard some of their new music, not all of it, but some of it, yeah.
My first concert was, and we got lost going, so we missed the opener. The opener, it was at Rosemont Horizon in Chicago. The opener was Brandy. You remember Brandy?
I think so.
She was big. Familiar. She was big back in the day, but she was like busting out on the scene at that point. The second artist was Babyface, and then the headliner was Boys to Men. So it was Brandy, Babyface, and Boys to Men. I mean, you say those names now to anybody that grew up in that area, you're like, holy crap, that's unbelievable. But as per usual with me driving anywhere, I got lost. We missed all of Brandy. We saw a couple of songs of Babyface, and then we did see Boys to Men. And we were like in the upper deck. Well, I mean, there's only 2 levels, I guess, of Rosemont. Upper deck of Rosemont, like way up there for like $90 a ticket back in the day, and damn near the top of the stadium.
GPS is an awesome thing nowadays, huh?
It was a good show. Yeah, I didn't have GPS.
I know you didn't.
Nope. I got off at like a Mannheim exit, got all confused and lost, and it was a disaster. That's fine, whatever. Okay, it is that time. Let's do this.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now.
Okay, let's get to it. Things that we missed on today's show. I found something that I thought was pretty funny that I wanted to share with y'all. This person put up the worst trades in recent MLB history. Okay. First one. Indians trade Junior Caminero, the dude that's been on fire, to the Rays for Tobias Myers.
Yeah, that's pretty lopsided. Hey, Tobias Myers had one good season, one okay season.
Mets trade Pete Crow Armstrong to Cubs for Javi Baez.
That was bad. And Javi Baez is doing all right. No.
Not for them. Dodgers trade Yordan Alvarez to Astros for Josh Fields.
Who?
Josh Fields, yeah. White Sox trade Fernando Tatis Jr. and Eric Johnson to Padres for James Shields.
I remember that one too.
Big game, James, back in the day. Red Sox trade Mookie Betts and David Price to the Dodgers for Alex Verdugo, Jeter Downs, and Connor Wong.
At the time, that was a pretty good trade. Alex Verdugo was an important young piece of the Dodgers too, and Jeter Downs was a really highly rated pick in their farm system. Like that one doesn't seem nearly as bad as some of these other ones. Like Tobias Myers, I don't think was ever that dude in anybody's farm system. So, like, why are you trading him for, I guess, Junior Caminero, who probably at that point was playing in like the Dominican Summer League, the lower levels, the complex leagues. So he maybe didn't have the notoriety yet either. But at the same time, if you spent the time to sign him to a contract and scout him the way you did, why would you let that go before seeing what he could turn into at least a little bit?
But see, and I am a big fan of doing that. Like, I would rather give me a 17 or 18-year-old that I have no idea how it's going to turn out versus cash money. I'll take the 17 or 18-year-old
why not?
every day of the week versus just giving me cash considerations. Because that's what they did earlier today. Easton McGee gets traded to the Royals for cash considerations. Okay. I'd rather give me an 18-year-old down in the complex.
Well, and I would assume that like Cleveland probably felt like they needed to compete right now in that moment. They've been a competitive team since 2016, so maybe they needed a piece where like Tobias Myers could come in and he's MLB ready at that point. I think if you're the Brewers, you're looking at this trade deadline and saying, hey, maybe we need a little extra money. Maybe we could throw the cash considerations towards another team and figure out how to make some extra trades happen by doing that. I think how necessary it is for your team to compete right now also affects that type of move too.
I'm just calling up Tobias Myers numbers here. He never even pitched in Cleveland in the big leagues. His first time in the big leagues was for the Brewers in 2024. He never pitched for them in the big leagues.
Farm system. What year was that?
I don't know. I gotta look it up here. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you're just talking about trading a prospect for a prospect, that's something completely different. And you'd have to sit there and look at it. Let's see here. November 19th, 2021, the Guardians traded then 18-year-old infielder Junior Caminero to the Rays in exchange for right-handed pitcher Tobias Myers.
Let's see, in 2021.
So what did Tobias Myers do in 2021 during the season? Where was he? Because that's what we're talking about.
He wasn't in their top 30 prospects.
No, I can't imagine. No, I can't imagine he ever was in anybody's top 30 prospects.
Let's see if we head on over to his minor league stats. In 2021, Tobias Myers was, if this website can load, he's in the minors since 2016. So in 2021, he had a 3.9 ERA. After in 2019, having a 2.13 ERA in 21 games, 14 started. Again, he was starting majority of the time in 2021. Again, a 3.9 ERA in 22 games started. He had a 1.1 whip that season too, so a pretty good average there for a young pitcher. The following year, he had a 7.82
the first
ERA,
year in the Cleveland system, right? Junior Caminero was 17 in 2021. Okay, 17. He played 43 games, 171 at bats. He had 295 with a 380 on base, 534 slugging with 9 home runs at 17 down there. I mean, come on, man. That was in the Dominican Summer League.
Yeah, and in Tobias Myers' year in 2022, 15.92 ERA during that time, or with the AAA squad that he spent time with, 7.82 the whole year throughout that time, a 2.01 whip.
Caminero's numbers every year in the minors were unbelievable. Yeah, like every year he hit well.
He was a stud.
Oh my gosh. That is just horrible. That one you'll never forget. So that one was something I wanted to bring up. The other thing I wanted to play was Giannis talking here on how he ended up with signing with Nike. This is from the School of Hard Knocks.
At 14, Adidas approached me. He was like, hey, would you want to sign with us? I was like, yeah, what? Yeah. And they said, okay, we'll give you 5,000. So what, 5,000 euros? Yes. At that time, I was making $300 per month in my team.
So to you, that was a lot of money.
Oh, my God. What? Come on. They said, come. I was like, please, like, my older brother was a better player than me at the time. I was like, you guys mind if you sign my brother too? He was like, yeah, we'll sign him for $5,000 too. So we go to the office. I took my mom. I said, Mom, come with me. Blah, blah. And we went to the office, to the headquarters. And then they brought the paper. This is when I realized, like, the business side of things. They put the paper right here. They said, Yasa Dukubo, $5,000. I was like, what is my brother's contract? It was like, no, you sign yours first, and then your brother will sign his. I said, no, that's not what you guys told me. You guys said that I'm going to sign, he's going to sign. Like, yeah, he'll sign, but you sign yours first, then. I said, no, brother. My mom was right there. No, brother, I can't sign. My mom was like, it's $5,000. I said, Mom, no. Then we move on. I'm in the car with my agent maybe the next day, and a lady from Nike called me. He said, "Hey, Giannis, would you like to come with Nike?" I said, "Yes." I said, "How much money would you offer?" He's like, "We'll offer you 5,000." I said, "My brother's on the card. Would you offer him 5,000 too?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, I'll come with Nike." Yes, that's how Nike got me.
That's crazy. Adidas had him point blank. But like everything else with Giannis, Thanasis has to be included. So
Thanasis was better than him.
Adidas was like, no, we're not.
They said yes. They just said we want you first, Giannis,
and
then
we'll give it to you. Give him a little later.
Giannis,
I was like, nope.
I want them both right now. Thanasis is here with me. Slide both contracts over the table, man.
Yep, smart. And then Nike ends up getting Giannis. Now I don't know. We should look that up. Like where shoe sales are for Giannis compared to the other NBA athletes, as far as how much his shoe sales are doing right now. Will those shoe sales go up? I would assume so once he gets to the Miami Heat, because then the shoes I'm sure will start being red versus maybe he had a ton of different colors though. Even with the Bucks, it didn't matter what colors the Bucks were wearing.
He had a bunch of different. I'm sure he'll have like a throwback Bucks colorway too that he'll wear at some point
while playing with the Heat.
Yeah,
no way.
Why not? You don't think so at all?
I can't.
Especially if it kind of matches with their jerseys and he can say, oh, it's like the start version of his shoes. I think I could see that.
Maybe. Potawatomi Sportsbook. Go there. Check it out. Free shuttles to and from Brewers home games. Reserve your seats online by going to Potawatomi.com. 2,000 square foot center screen. 30 games at one time. Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen. Amazing all-day brunch. All kinds of different food options. Over 40 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails, homemade desserts and pastries. Check them out today at Potawatomi.com. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up next here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network will be Wisconsin Sports Wrap Up here, the best of what happened today. Enjoy your night, Wisconsin. Toodles!